wanted to go over the current major going on, and there's many majors going on throughout the year, so I wanted to do this for every major going into 2026, roughly around the best of 16 or quarterfinal stage, preferably the weekend before the final or the weekly leading up to the final, because there's a lot of teams going in very early stages. So I don't think the importance of the majors or the tournaments would be personified. So I think by doing it 6 or 7 days, 6 or 7, would be best before the final. Sorry, would be best to gauge involvement in teams, what I think will happen in the rounds coming up, who I think will win, and the next major after that, and what I think about this major so far. So, this major, first major of 2026, is the Blast Bounty Premier 2026 season. So basically, this started in 2025. It's a CS2 thing, as far as I know. Believe it started in 2025, as that's as early as I can remember. And this is an early season LAN event with the top 32 teams based on Valve rankings. And the prize pool is 1.15 million, which is quite a lot for a, I guess, smaller tournament. Blast obviously being quite a big tournament host for Valve in the CS2 space. And basically, the format for the bounty system, if you don't know how the bounty system works, is so first of all, I'll use this season as the best example. So from the 13th to the 18th of January, it was an online stage, and we had 32 teams. So some of the teams named Ecstatic were the wildcard pick, as long as friendly campers. The other two wildcard picks were Ninja Pajamas and Virtus Pro. We have smaller teams like Sinners, Inner Circle, Eyeballers, as well as Foot Esports, OG, Monty, Gentle Mates, Furia, Team Falcons, Vitality, the usual stay. With, like I said, the wildcard picks, Ecstatic obviously being a Zipples team. Sorry, I forgot for a moment. M80, obviously, there, 9, Ents, Heroic, your usual candidates. Whilst the LAN finals were obviously in the Blast studio in Malta. Sadly, I did have tickets. I won't be able to go. It's just too early in the year. I was meant to go with a friend. However, that's besides the point. So at the moment, currently, we're in the quarterfinal stage, and I'll go into the quarterfinal stage in just a moment. So, like I said, the online stage was January 13th to 18th, and how Blast Bounty works is a single elimination bracket. Once you lose one match, you're out. And there's no lower / loss bracket. All matches except the final is best of 3. The grand final is best of 5. And here is where I'm going to say in air quotations, gimmick comes from. The bounty system. So teams start with a bounty value based on their Valve global standings, and when a team defeats another team, it takes a portion of that opponent's bounty and adds it to their own, which is quite important as well, because So let's say effectively you have Vitality, who just won a major. They're going to be first in the world for their seeding. They're going to have a huge bounty leading into it. And this effectively rewards upsets and makes each match worth money beyond placement alone, which is a very, very important statement. Every team has a bounty. Lower teams can fight the highest teams and try and take their bounty, cause an upset. Every match is as important. I know when we go into the major, you see some teams very early in stage one, and it doesn't look like they're they're fighting for it. Whereas Bounty, I know it's a very smaller tournament, but like teams like Ecstatic, even though they're out now, I'll double check that. Even though they're out, as far as I remember, they fought for it. That might be because they're wild card pick, but anyway, as I was saying, so the draft show and the land finals kickoff is the 21st to the 22nd, so that will be Wednesday and Thursday, and the actual land finals is the 22nd, and then the grand final is on the 25th of January, this Sunday. And the casual, it's always on Blast TV, on their CS channels, Twitch, YouTube, French, Spanish, English, the usual. And personally, I really like this as a smaller tournament. There are some other I think sometimes the production quality of Blast can be a bit iffy, but if we're comparing it to the early stages of the major we just had in Budapest, sometimes Blaster come out as one of the best ones, which is quite ironic to say. Going into the quarterfinals, so firstly, I'll name the four teams that are currently seeded in the quarterfinals. So in QF1, we have Falcons. QF2, we have Furia. QF3, we have Vitality. QF4, we have Spirit. This means none of these four teams can play each other. We can't have Falcons versus Furia. Now we have to wait till the semi-final if they both win. Like the same for Vitality and Spirit, we have to wait till the semi-final for them to both win. So the teams that are currently unseeded are Heroic, Team Liquid, Gamer Legion, and Paravision. So leading into that, we've got Spirit. Let's say, for example, they play Paravision. I mean, it looks like a pretty clear sweep to me. But as well, Heroic, we could have Heroic versus Falcons, which I think could be a really good game. Furia versus Team Liquid, I think that could also be a very good game. We've got some absolutely amazing games coming out soon. And then, some of the highlights of the round of 32, we had Monte versus Navi. Monte won. Huge upset, personally, I believe. We had Inner Circle versus 3D Max. Inner Circle beat 3D Max, a massive L for French CS2, or Counter-Strike, I should say. We had Eyeballers versus FaZe. FaZe lost that, left it, and got kicked out at the earliest stage. Insane to me as well. This has been a really good. I keep saying major. It's been a really good tournament. I don't want to say minor because that really destroys how important this could be for some smaller teams. Let's say we have a team like Paravision who do win this. This could be insane for them. And me personally, I do think Vitality will still go on and win it. Like I said, I ideally want to watch the grand final on Sunday. I'll probably watch it live on live stream. Sadly, like I said, I won't be there on the Saturday and Sunday, like I had hoped. Yeah, that's everything for the Blast Premier Bounty Season 2026. Insane tournament for 2026 so far. Has been really eye-catching. I would recommend watching some of the highlights. It has been an insane level of Counter-Strike. And looking forward into the two next tournaments. So these are not majors, but they are tournaments. So, and the clear distinction between a major and just a standard tournament is Valve is actively funding the major. That is the main difference. So, for example, next one is IEM Krakow 2026. This is funded solely by sponsors. It doesn't have such a big prize pool. The prize pool is 1 million, as opposed to Cologne 2026, which is the first half major for the year, I think the prize pool is upwards of 2 million, 2.5 million. I will have to double check that. I'm not quite sure. But like for example, after IEM Krakow 2026 is PGL Cluj-Napoca 2026, where the prize pool is only 600. Well, I say only 625,000, and that only has 16 teams, whereas Krakow only has 24 teams. But like some of these teams, looking at it from a viewer perspective, you have, your standards, you have Furia, you have Falcons, you have Spirit, you have Navi, you have Mouse, Mongols, you have BC Game, Passion UA, NRG, Paravision. So, some very solid teams in there. Whereas Cluj-Napoca, you have pretty much just your bog standard teams. Furia, Vitality, Falcons, Navi, Mouse, FaZe, Mongols, Aurora, Bait, Legacy, G2, 3D Max, Astralis, Paravision, Heroic, and Pain. So, two very strong majors looking forward, but all eyes personally will be looking at the final on Sunday. It's going to be a good one. That's all I can say. But my personal opinion is I do think Vitality will win it. They almost clean swept FaZe. I mean, it was a 3-1 win. It's not a clean sweep, but I think they definitely could have gone 3-0. But who knows? I hope it's Falcons. Falcons are my favorite team at the moment, just because I do like what they're doing. I know that it's kind of ironic to say that they're just buying the best players, whereas Vitality, they've built this team for quite a while. Zaiwu has been, you've seen his progression as a player, but we'll see on Sunday who will win. That's everything, guys. I hope to make this a series for every little tournament going on. Hopefully, I see you on Sunday and for IEM Krakow 2026. Peace.